Here we go, Rivals.com video. David Bakhtiari, Colorado Buffaloes, year one under John Embry. Had its ups and downs, had one big up at the end of the year that we'll talk about later with that Utah win. But why don't we just talk about the year in general and what it was like to kind of get to know a new coach and play under him for a year.
I mean, it was good. You know, takes some getting used to. We got a whole new system.
Yeah.
You know, going from the pistol to pro style. You know, try to understand his type of attitude and what he wanted to instill in the program.
Yeah.
You know, I felt like I caught on fairly quickly, at least for me, because I mean, a lot of things that he embodies and idolizes is kind of like how my general everyday kind of outlook.
Okay.
So I mean, but as a team as a whole, you know, that took a little while, but I feel we're pretty close. I would say still that we're not there yet.
Yeah.
I mean, once we're there yet, I mean, I feel like any team will understand they're gonna be competing at an extremely high level.
Yeah.
But I feel like we're on a really good track right now.
You know, when you talk about getting used to a guy, and you mentioned his system and all that kind of stuff, well, that's one thing. Mm-hmm. Learning how to play for a new guy with a whole new set of expectations on your personal lives, on texting and tweeting and all those little tiny things that kind of go unnoticed. You know, people say, well, what offense and defense are you running? But it's a hell of a lot more than that. In terms of dealing with his demands, expectations, and all that, how far has the team come along to really getting what this guy is about?
A lot. You know, when he came in, he was zero tolerance with anything.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, his actions showed it. He didn't take any of the stuff that they were going to give him. And
I could see where you're going there.
Yeah.
But that's
And a lot of these incoming freshmen, they don't even know, like, because they haven't even been here for that. So
yeah.
I actually had to shed some light on some of these incoming freshmen, because they come in and they don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
You know, they could be doing whatever outside of football, but I let them know, like, look, this guy's the real deal. He's no joke.
Yeah.
And I'd bring him back to reality. Like you guys weren't here for this, but I mean, John Embry, does have has a very low tolerance for stuff. So if you're not meeting his expectations, you could be on the next flight home.
And one of the things that comes along with that is when you start seeing the results, the fruits of that labor. He mentioned it himself, pretty interesting idea about it's one thing to be preaching all this, but when you don't see those instant results, it can fall flat. Oh, yeah. Guys can't buy in. To get that win, to get a win on the road, those little tiny things that you really need for sort of proof. Do you think that it's one thing to buy in. Do you think that the 8,500 guys in the program, do you think that they're starting to see the fruits of their labor, even 1 year in?
Yeah, no, I'd say a good amount of them do. You can see by the, kind of like the tone, and like they're starting to understand what he also wants. I think that's also a direct correspondence. The sense of urgency I see with all these guys is what, John Embry really, instills with, the whole team as a whole. Like, he wants moving with a purpose, moving with an idea, moving with a sense of, it's not just you, it's not just me, it's not just them, it's us as a collective group. And we have something to work towards. Last year was working towards winning on the road. Now this year we have this idea of working towards a bowl game. Yep. John Embry's never been a person to, overstate, overachieve. He's been
is good.
He's been a guy, look, I'm gonna be realist, this is exactly what I want. If you meet that and exceed it, good. But I'm not going to take anything below. We are going to do what we say.
That's great. And the question that I have off of that is, kids 18 to 22 can kind of react in two different ways. The first reaction is, what's my coach talking about? We can win any national championship. I'm a Heisman guy. That kind of delusional, man, I can do this. I can do this. And then there is kind of the more realistic, there were some tough times at Colorado. You need to kind of get back on that winning, road and all that kind of stuff. To be able to, and he and I talked about this, for him to be able to point to the success that Colorado has had in the past. It's not like you guys are manufacturing a team or a program out of nowhere. Colorado's a national program, a national championship contender. Is it good to be able to say, like, we've had it here before, if we take these steps, we can be there again?
Oh, yeah. Definitely. It's always good, just like I said, to win the first road game. That's the same exact thing as winning one national championship.
Was that what it felt like?
Exactly. That's the way I can kind of compare what John Embry was saying with the history thing. Yeah. We've been there before. We can go there again. We've won on the road now. We can do it again. It's the same thing, and it's a repetitive cycle.
We got that Waterworld show going on in the background here at Universal Studios. The movie made like $40 in theaters, and they have a ride for it here. David, just a couple more things. Sending an offensive tackle to Media Day. We had a punter here last year. That's one thing. I'm not going to rag on you for that. But it's one thing when, you know, the quarterback graduates and the running back graduates, and so they kind of say, all right, we'll bring the offensive lineman. You happen to be a very highly touted one and one of the best in the country. You know, to come here representing your team, but also to know that it's not some bush league, like they needed someone. How good does that make you feel to know that you are a spokesman for Colorado now?
That I'm like honored. I'm genuinely honored. I mean, it's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to be, you know, representing CU. You know, I really respect all my teammates at home, and, you know, just for, you know, someone to acknowledge me, you know, because offensive linemen, you know, a lot of people don't really, you know a whole lot about us, and just the fact that I'm able to, you know, take this role, you know, I hope in the future, you know, other guys they'll bring more offensive linemen, and I think I'm the only offensive lineman here.
I think you are.
And then I think,
hey man, I played the line. I love it.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
And, you know, I think there's one true defensive lineman that's star. And otherwise, others like outside linebackers. But I mean, to be here, you know, I call it League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. So I'm very, very, you know, privileged and blessed to be a part of this.
That's great stuff. David Bakhtiari, Colorado offensive lineman for Rivals.com. This is John Gold. Thanks so much, man.
No problem.